Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Culips English podcast. Today, we have a simplified speech episode planned for you. And if you're not familiar with our simplified speech series, it's just a series where we have completely natural English conversations that are unscripted and unplanned, but we speak a little bit slower than we do in our everyday lives. And today I'm joined by Suzanne. Suzanne, hello. How are you?
Good, Andrew. How are you?
Suzanne, I'm doing awesome, and I'm really excited today because here where I live in South Korea, the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the newest Quentin Tarantino movie,
Right.
is opening. Finally opening. It's been out in theaters in North America for like 3 or 4 months, but
Yeah.
finally it has arrived here in South Korea. So I have tickets to go see it tonight, and I've heard really good things about this movie. And I love all of the actors in it, Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio, and the director, Quentin Tarantino, as well. I'm a fan of, so I'm excited to watch this movie this evening.
Wow. So you snagged some tickets and it's the first weekend that it's opening. It's the first opening weekend, I guess.
Yeah, that's how we could say I don't know if we have a special expression for this in English. We would just say it's the opening weekend, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so. Or you could say
Yeah.
the premiere weekend.
Yes,
I don't
premiere
know.
weekends.
Yeah.
Exactly. I guess,
Cool.
it takes a while to make the subtitles because they have to translate the script. And as far as I know, this movie is, there's quite a lot of historical, cultural references from the 70s in California.
Yes. Yes.
So that could be difficult to translate. So I'm going to be interested to see as I watch the movie what the subtitles are saying at the same time. That's always fun
Yeah. And
for
is
me
it with
to do.
subtitles or dubbed?
I believe it will be subtitles. Usually here in
Okay.
Korea, the only English movies that are dubbed into Korean are animated movies. All of the
Oh, okay.
real life movies always have subtitles. So
Got it.
that's
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 nice.
good for me because I can still go and watch them. If
Listen.
they were
Yeah.
dubbed, then I don't think I would enjoy it
Me
as
neither.
much.
I don't like dubbed movies at all. I'm with you.
Don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
yeah,
Suzanne, we have
yeah,
a different topic for today. We're not going to
yeah.
talk about movies. We're actually going to talk about quitting jobs.
Yeah.
And this topic was suggested to us by one of our listeners named Santana. Wendy Santana. Okay, via YouTube. So a YouTube a watcher of the podcast. And quitting jobs, wow, I think we could have a lot to say about this
Yeah.
topic. But before we get into it, we should remind all of our listeners that there is a study guide for this episode, and it's available on our website, culips.com. It's awesome. It's jam packed with a lot of great things that we have put together to help you get the most out of your English studies when you are studying along with this episode. So there's a transcript inside, there are detailed vocabulary, definitions, and explanations, and examples. There's a quiz, there are some prompts that you can use for writing practice or speaking practice. And I think it's a great way to study with us. So check that out on our website, culips.com. Let's get into it. Quitting
Yeah.
jobs. Now, Suzanne,
Yeah.
I imagine you've quit a job once or twice in the past. Is that
I
a safe to
have.
say? Is that a safe assumption?
That is a safe assumption. It is true.
Okay.
I have quit a job or two in my time. Um, yeah. And you, Andrew, have you?
Yeah, of
Quit a
course. I've
job?
quit jobs before. And I
Yeah.
think when we think of this topic, quitting jobs, we think of like a person in a movie that's in a fit of rage. It's like, I
Yes.
can't
I
take it
quit.
anymore. I quit.
Yeah.
Right. But I've
Totally.
never really had that experience. Have you had that rage experience where you just walk out on a job?
No, I've never
Mm.
had that experience. I have had a few dramatic experiences. Um,
Okay.
my quitting was mostly in New York City when I was in like the, service industry, like
Mm.
waitressing or bartending. And in those cases, most of the time it was very fine and amicable.
Mm-hmm.
You're just moving on. You're there to be an actress, and maybe your acting work is getting better. So
Mm-hmm.
you're being an artist, which was your whole dream. So you quit in order to do that full time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there were a few times that they were really scary and dramatic. Yeah, actually, I was
Really?
working at a restaurant, yeah, where the owner was a little scary. He was a little
Okay.
emotional. He got angry a lot. He would
Oh
throw
no.
plates.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was
That's
kind of scary.
that
Um,
is scary. Yeah.
and one night he was throwing plates in the kitchen. I think he must have been pretty drunk, and he was angry, and I got really scared.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had messed up something, I think, on a check, and I thought it was me, but it turned out it wasn't about me, but I thought it was. So I was really young and I was scared. So I grabbed my money after we counted
Mm-hmm.
our money,
Mm-hmm.
and I ran out of there, and
Mm-hmm.
I called from a payphone because I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I called from a
Yeah.
payphone to my friend who was a waiter there, and I was like, "Can you get my backpack? I left it in the the coat check or
This.
whatever."
Okay.
And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, no, just stay there." He's like, "Just." I was like, "Should I come back?" He's like, "No, just stay there." He's
Hmm.
crazy. The guy is crazy. So he brought my backpack. We went out for drinks that night, and I was
Okay.
like, "You know what? I think I'm done. I
It's
think I'm
finished.
quitting." So
Yeah.
the next morning, I called the office really early and I said, "I'm not coming in anymore." And
Mm.
the lady there said, "I know that he's a little crazy. I know that he can be a little rough to work for. Would you reconsider?" And I'm like, "Nope, I won't."
Good call.
And so I just said, "This guy seems a little bit unhinged, a little
Mm-hmm.
dramatic,
Mm-hmm.
and it's already New York City." So I decided to have less drama, and I quit right there.
Yeah.
I was so scared. I was so nervous because when you say goodbye to a job, it's like you hope to have something, in line.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
but
it's a bit of a
for your
leap of
next job,
faith, right?
yes,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
really scary. It seems like in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of hotheads. I know when I was a university student, I worked in several restaurants, and I think it's because everybody is crammed in the back in the kitchen and it's really hot. You have the stoves going, you have the ovens going. It's boiling hot
yeah,
and everybody's packed together and there's a pressure, right? You have to perform really well. The food has to be delicious and it has
for
to be
sure.
prepared quickly. And also, like you mentioned, you mix in the alcohol factor because in bars, people are drinking too, sometimes even the staff members. So it's like a recipe for these kind of angry situations to happen easily.
Yes,
Yeah, and it
exactly.
can be scary for the employees. I agree. If you have a manager that's not being cool.
Yeah, yeah. And how about you? What jobs have you quit from? And what did you
Oh,
say when you quit?
yeah. Well, that's a good question. I guess that I've quit pretty much every job that I've had up until now because
That's good. You
because
were
that's
never
just how you
fired.
move on. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never been fired from a job. That's true. I've been in jobs where my contract hasn't been extended due to funding or things that
Right.
were not related to my performance, but just more of the economic situation. But yeah, I've never been fired per se. So when I've quit jobs in the past, the protocol in Canada is to always give 2 weeks notice. This is the common thing that is, it's not like a law or anything, but it's just kind of what we regard to be decent
Yeah.
behavior. It's like you want to give your employer 2 weeks notice so that they can find a replacement. And usually we have to give that in writing. So just so it's official and the company can give it to their HR department, their human resources department. So usually I would just write a letter and say, "Oh, thank you for the opportunity to work here. I had a good experience, but I am moving on to a different opportunity. And as of this date, I will no longer work for you anymore." And you just give that to your manager. And it's always a little bit awkward, right?
Yeah.
When you're
For sure.
quitting,
Yeah.
especially if you like the job and if you like the people that you work with, and it can be difficult. But yeah, you give that letter to your manager, your supervisor, and that's it. I've
Do you talk to maybe do you give your manager or boss a heads up before
mm,
you give the official letter? Do you
yeah,
talk with them first just to give them a heads up, about what's going on?
yeah. I think in most of the situations where I've left jobs, it's usually because of a different opportunity, and it wasn't really an immediate opportunity, something that just happened overnight. It was like, maybe I'd know 6 months in advance that I got accepted to this university, and all of the people that I worked with knew that I was going to move to a different city to attend that university, for example.
Okay.
So everybody knew that I was going anyways. It was more of just a formality at that point. So,
Right.
yeah, for the most part, everybody knew in advance. I'm trying to think, particularly, it's funny now when I'm thinking about my work time in Canada. I haven't really worked and lived in Canada for a while, so it's
Yeah.
a bit of a foggy memory, but yeah, there were no surprises. I will say though, the one time that I did quit a job without any 2 weeks notice or without really being a decent human being in this situation was, I believe I was in my last year of high school, and I got a job at the fast food restaurant Subway. I was a sandwich artist is
That's what they
the
call it.
title. Yeah. So I was a sandwich artist, but I only lasted in that job for one shift. I did one shift, and then I
That's
determined
it.
that it wasn't for me. I didn't like the way that the customers were bossing me around, and I
Okay.
didn't like I didn't like really being in that situation. I didn't want to make sandwiches. So I quit that job after one shift, and I think I just maybe called the manager and said I'm not coming back. Or
Yeah.
maybe I didn't even do that. Maybe I just didn't even go back. I can't really remember. But I know that I was kind of a jerk. I think because I was young, and yeah, I didn't really value that job very highly, so I just didn't care. So that's not the way that you should do things though when you quit a job. The proper way, the way that I do things now is to write the official letter and give your
Yeah.
2 weeks notice.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
that's true. Yeah. I think that's a that's it. I don't think I've ever written a letter because most of my jobs have been performative. So maybe I'll
Mm,
just have a meeting with my agents or something like
right.
that and be like, hey, when I was moving to Montreal, I wrote them an email, but I also came in and sat and had some wine and we talked and I was like, I'm moving to Montreal. going to be doing my master's, and I'm going to be, not in New York anymore. So yeah, it's hard. It's awkward and it's hard. And I think one of the things additionally, besides writing a letter, is also thanking them and telling them what an honor it was, a pleasure it was to share this time, this, working on these projects and collaborating with them, and that something common to say at the end is to say, and I hope our paths cross in the future. That I hope someday that maybe we could work together again in the future. Our paths cross, or maybe at a conference, or maybe, in your case, working at a university, maybe at a conference or some sort of workshop, you might see some of the same colleagues, which is nice.
Exactly. So that's more for when you're more established in a career, and especially if you have a good working relationship with your colleagues and your company, then you might want to use some of those expressions. If you're a younger person, or you're in an industry that you hate and you're fine with burning your bridges, then you can kind of leave those things out
then
of
you
the
just
letter.
call the next day and you say, I'm not going to be there. Or just don't show up.
Exactly. No call, no show is what we say, right? No warning and no attendance. Yeah.
Don't do that for those big jobs. Do it more for the jobs that are, well, just don't do that maybe all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to end things on a positive note with your employers, because at least in Canada, it's really important to get a reference letter from an employer. So when you're applying for a new job, the people that are hiring will ask you to submit some references. So they want to talk to your previous employers and find out, are you a good employee? Do you show up on time? Are you responsible? All of these things. And so it's good to have a good relationship. I just mentioned this expression, burn your bridges. And you don't want to burn your bridges. You don't want to destroy the connection that you have with your previous employers, because this can be important for finding new job opportunities in the future too. So as much as possible, keep things good. Keep things amicable.
On the up and up. Keep things on the clean. Keep things keep it cute.
Keep it cute. Exactly.
Cool. I'm sorry that there was some squeaking in the background you might have heard. That is one of our friend's dogs that's staying with us, everyone. So sorry about the squeaks.
It's okay. It's not Suzanne playing with a dog toy. It's the dog playing with the dog toy. All right. Well, Suzanne, I think we should quit this episode. I think we should wrap it up here. Thank you again to Wendy for the episode suggestion. Guys, keep these topic suggestions coming. I think you all are much more creative than I am, and I'm very thankful when you suggest these topics, because they're fun to do, they're fun to talk about. And if you would like to get in touch with us, you can just send us an email. Our address is contact@culips.com, and we're all over the place on social media too, aren't we, Suzanne? Yeah, we're on
Facebook, and Twitter, and Instagram, and
YouTube. Yay, we're on YouTube. So if you just search for the Culips English podcast on your favorite social media site, you can find us that way. And finally, guys, there is the study guide for this episode available on culips.com. And also on our website, that's where you can find all of our previous episodes. We have over 500 English lessons on the website, so it's a great resource for you to check out. Yeah, 500. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with another Culips episode. We'll talk to you then. Bye.
Bye, guys.